For sale by owners are a part of the real estate industry, and is it the right thing for you to do if you're looking to sell your house? Should you do it by yourself, or do you need experts to help guide you through the experience? Stay tuned to hear our thoughts on this and more.
The Den, powered by the Lyons Group, a show that explores trending topics in real estate, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. We're a small team of professionals with over $400 million in sales and nearly 2,000 successful transactions. You're listening to time-tested experts and industry leaders. Here's a refreshing look at real estate happenings and more. Welcome to The Den.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of The Den. And today we're going to be talking about for sale by owners. It's a part of the real estate industry. People try to sell their homes by themselves. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is there liability? Can you actually make more money by not using a realtor, or save money by not using a realtor? Or should you go the opposite route? But before I get into that, let me introduce my friends, my partners, my co-hosts, the fellow members of the Lyons Group. To my right, Paul Hammy the Rock Berry, Aspen the Ninja Gruen, and the boss, Shannon Martin Martinez. My name is Ben, DIY Lyons. Do it yourself, Lyons. And that never works out for me. I end up screwing things up, and then I call a professional, and you know how that goes. I'm like, I can put that piece of plumbing together. Yeah.
No, you can't.
No, I can't. There's something clinking in the car. So what does Bryson do? And he goes,
opens up the hood, and I say, "What are you looking for?" And he goes, "No frogs in there," and shuts it. We're pretty handy, but not with mechanical stuff like that.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Kick the tires,
Kick the tires. Yeah, the old kicking the tires. Like, pretend you know what you're doing. And that goes to for sale by owners. Like, some people really truly know what they're doing when it comes to selling homes. Maybe they were a former realtor, or maybe they just are very comfortable. They've done it many times over the years. But this is to the audience. This episode's about covering or pulling back the layers on the covers of whether you should be a for sale by owner or not, whether you should take that part on. And I wanted to address this because there are stats that demonstrate goods and bads with for sale by owning. Obviously, you can save a chunk of money by not having to pay a realtor compensation. That's the pro. The con
you can't
is
say that anymore.
What? You can say compensation?
No, you can't say that.
So what am I supposed to say?
I think you can say that.
Yeah.
You can't say
You
commission.
can't say they shouldn't. We are the pros.
Oh, I think there's going to be a
But
start with that.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
I lead into the but. But I'm just going to the that's enough. Okay. I just went to NAR because they have a bunch of stats out there. And according to NAR in 2024, that's the National Association of Realtors, 6% of all transactions were for sale by owners in 2024.
Should we make a guess on how much more they could have made?
So, yes. So the average for sell by owner was $380,000 for the sale. And if you worked with a realtor, what do you think the average sales price would be?
I think it was 25% higher.
25% higher.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a sizable chunk.
I think so.
Shannon, do you have a guess? For sell by owners, average $380,000.
$420,000.
Ooh, that's a good guess. Paul?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
just a guess. It's just for funsies.
415.
415. But you're cheating. You're going to see.
Can I see that?
No, you can't see that.
I think mine was too high. That's 475,000. That's too high. I'm saying more closer to 15%.
Okay.
Well, I will say before you say that, with a realtor, you're about 5% of original list price.
Okay. So I can see that. I can see that. But the stats say if the average home sold with a realtor was $435,000 versus $380,000 with a for sale by owners. That's a sizable difference. That's $55,000 in difference. Now, what does that play into? Is that because of the marketing? Is it because of the exposure? Is it because of the negotiation tactics? What are the key components if you're going to for sale by owner that you may miss out on if you don't have that expert guidance? So, Shannon, I'm going to come to you. If it's a for sale by owner, then what do you think the biggest thing is that they may be missing out on if they don't work with a realtor?
The fun.
The fun.
Yeah.
Besides all this
That's
Our
what she's
sunny
thinking about.
our
personality.
sunny personalities.
Well, I mean, when you say the one thing, that's what's hard for me. I'm not sure there's a one thing. I think there's a lot of things. I think limiting liability is massive. I think a lot more for sell by owners. I guess I don't know stats on that. I should probably look first, but I do think there's probably a lot more for sell by owners that end up with litigation, in my opinion. Or maybe not, because they think we have the money.
Yeah.
That might be the problem. I don't think there's one thing that makes it advantageous. I think we do customarily sell a home for more money. I think there's limiting liability is a huge benefit to having a realtor.
Time.
Security, safety. A lot of for sale by owners will get bombarded with people that just want to tour their house, or people that want to see the inside of their house, or get information out of them for maybe nefarious reasons. So that is an issue to think about.
The contracts themselves are huge. But the pricing strategy, a lot of homeowners struggle with where to price their properties. I would say, to piggyback on what you're saying, it's not just one thing. There's a lot of things that add up there.
There's so many numerous things that we do that a for sale by owner can't do. Sure, they can go online. They didn't used to be able to just go online and post it. Now you can. You'd have to put it in the paper, but now you can go online and post it, get some good coverage. You might get some phone calls. But I think from an everyday person, I think you're just opening yourself up to so much. You're opening your home up to people you don't know. You don't know what their true intentions are. I
didn't even think about that.
That's the one thing that bothers me, is I think that sometimes people see for sale by owners, it's a good opportunity to just knock on the door and walk up there and walk in, or to get into someone's house. We make sure at least, we've spoke to these people. We have, we see a loan approval letter for them. We've
vetted them.
We've been working with them. We maybe shown them a couple houses.
We can look at their background. We can background check them.
Exactly. These are real home buyers. I mean, they may not end up buying your home, but they're real home buyers, as opposed to when you're a for sale by owner. I think you open yourself up to a lot of people that just see an opportunity to get in your door.
Yeah.
One thing I thought about as you were talking is, if you're a for sale by owner, you're going to be negotiating directly with the buyer. So there's a lot of emotion that comes in there. With a realtor, you have that
arm's length transaction. There's a lot to be said for that. If somebody looks me in the face and they're going, we just can't do 10,000 more, and what are we going to do? It's the only place that works for our needs, and it's so much harder for someone to say, no, this is my bottom line. But if you have someone negotiating on your part and you say, look, the comps in the area support this, and this house is worth every penny, and I have 3 other buyers that are looking at it this afternoon. Now you have somebody working on your side, getting that extra 10,000 for you, where you probably would have caved when you have them standing in front of you. Most people don't have the stomach for that.
Yeah. Does that work with you? Can I be like, I just can't go another day without your homemade cookies and cheesecake?
You know what? That doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, I'll headlock you no.
Yeah. I need another jar of that honey.
Right.
Yeah. Aspen, what do you think? Some of the biggest benefits that people get when they work with a realtor. Let's just start there.
So kind of a fun little story actually with that. So the house I bought was for sale by owner. So the house I'm living in right now, she did list it on the MLS. So she had like a list with freedom, where you pay $500 or whatever and you can list it on the MLS. So one, I don't know if I would have seen it if it wasn't, because I'm not looking on Zillow or Realtor, or I guess it wouldn't even been on Realtor or Zillow or whatever the other ones are. I saw it because it was on the MLS. Now, she did not care about any sob story. She strong-armed us for every single penny that she could, but we wanted the house and we were kind of in a position where we had to move. But something she was very thorough, and I will say she did a very good job, and she negotiated the heck out of us, and we wanted the house, so we paid it. She missed something that was $14,000, and she didn't know till the day of closing. So not having, even though she was on top of it more than probably any seller I have ever seen, she did miss something, and it ended up costing her, we were still paying it, but it cost her about $14,000.
Wow. That's incredible. So just having another set of eyes can often
doing a net out sheet or an estimated what you can expect for your expenses.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I think the benefit is just this is our job. We do this all day, every day. We know what to watch for. We know things that aren't normal. We actually can have a good grasp on what costs are going to be, inspections that are going to be needed, what those are going to cost, repairs that would need to be done, things that might pop up in an appraisal. We're doing this all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's worth the money, and you make, on average, more money by listing with a realtor.
Hi, I'm Ben Lyons, a partner at the Lyons Group. We're dedicated to making your real estate experience the best it can be. If you're looking to buy or sell, go to sjcbroker.com and watch our informational video series. These videos break down the process and shed some light on buying or selling. While you're there, schedule a private consultation with one of our partners. We'd love to sit down, talk strategy, and give you a real advantage in today's market. You deserve the best. So take those steps, and we'll see you soon. Now back to the show.
Yeah. Well, one of the things you just said was the inspection component. And I was just thinking through that, just with so many years of experience, when a client does a pre-inspection, I'm able to sit down and go through that pre-inspection and send them a quick synopsis of, like, these are the items that most people are going to be concerned with. And oh, by the way, I know you know how to do electrical, but don't go put that outlet in, because now you have liability. And those are just the gentle guidance that a seasoned real estate professional can give you, that otherwise you'd get a pre-inspection report, or during the actual transaction, get a home inspection report and go, okay, what do I do with this? Like, how do I attack this? Just someone standing beside you and saying, hey, these are the steps that you should take. And these are really the bigger items to take on. I mean, to me, that's worth its weight in gold right there. Because if I were in that position, I would be going, okay, where are the shots going to come from? Like, sometimes you don't know until the bullet's past you. Just like the example that you led with the for sale by owner that you worked with, she didn't know until closing that she had another $14,000 bill or whatever it was that was going to affect her net out. I mean, just having another set of eyes, it seems to be pretty critical.
And also, I mean, for our house example, she didn't give us any disclosures or anything, and we did do our inspections, but there was some big stuff that we were missed. But like I said, we're pretty handy. We don't get too worked up about it. We just fix the items. I think that if it had been just a normal buyer, a normal seller, no one else involved that maybe couldn't fix these things, I think there probably would have been a lawsuit. There was a lot of water issues that we found in the house, but again, we just took care of it. It wasn't too big of a deal for us, but I think it definitely could have been a really big deal for somebody.
If it weren't you and Bryson in that position, it's very likely someone else would have probably come back after the transaction.
I think so.
Had some heartburn.
Yeah, I think so. I even called her afterwards, and she claimed she didn't know, and there was getting deeper into it, I think there were some things that were hidden. So it kind of goes to show you, it doesn't even matter if you do know what you're talking about. There are still things. We had inspections. We did everything we were supposed to. There are still things that can come up. But I think that, I knew what our options would have been on the back end side if we wanted to move forward with anything. We didn't. But also having that helping hand for if something comes up afterwards, being like, here's what you can do. Here's what the contract says. Here's some people to call. So it's just like it's a through beginning to end. It really is nice to have someone there telling you your options. Soundboarding.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Paul, what do you think for sell by owners miss out on, the biggest thing or a myriad of things?
Well, I mean, going for sale by owner, and I've got to be careful because this chair is very squeaky.
So if he looks like a statue.
Yeah, I'm trying not to
say, just like your personality.
Sound here. No, but I think that for sale by owner, what you're doing is you're playing the game without knowing the rules or without agreeing upon the rules first. We've talked about this in previous podcasts where if you use a realtor, we have a set, we have the forms that we use. We have the code of ethics. We all are playing by the same rules. So we have the same process. And especially in, different areas, they have different practices that they do. We know what's going to happen here. We know what needs to be done on a rural home or a manufactured home or something like that a for sale by owner may not know.
Yeah.
One of the things that you said, Aspen, was about you saw the list with freedom ad on our MLS. What just happened, which is a benefit for FSBOs, is NAR has stopped the no commingling rule, which means that MLSs have the ability, or Zillow or Homes.com, Realtor.com, have the ability to display non-realtor listings next to realtor listings. So that's a positive for sale by owners that just came out this year within the last month or so.
Yeah. And that's a pretty fascinating turn of events in the industry itself. We'll see how that plays out. But I think what you just said is perfect. Like, it's like me showing up on a bocce ball court. I don't even know what the heck that is. And swinging one of them little racket things and not knowing, like, what are the rules of the game?
You don't play with a racket and bocce.
Exactly. See what I'm saying? So,
Right. It's also like, just because like you hire a lawyer, some people say, well, I'll just have a lawyer draw it up. Okay, well, yeah, if you're using a property.
A real estate lawyer,
yeah. Like it's the same thing. You're not going to go use your divorce attorney for your property.
Yeah.
It's just different specialties.
Mm-hmm. And you got to know the game. Mm-hmm. You have to understand the game. So if you go into this, back to your example, and you don't understand the rules, then you're totally reactive through the entire process versus being proactive and really getting yourself into a position where you can negotiate strong, where you can really take control of the situation and ultimately the outcome of the sale. So,
well, just think, a for sale by owner if they don't know the process that we would normally go through. A buyer could come up and say, I want to do inspections. Seller goes, we don't need to do inspections. What are you going to do inspections for?
Yeah.
You're buying it as is. You have no rights here because I'm not using a realtor. So, I mean, if you want to have the actual process and how things are supposed to go, especially if there's a lender involved, I think it's almost a no-brainer to go with a realtor.
You decide to sell to the family and not to the single person, and you let that be known. You just opened yourself up to a lawsuit that you probably weren't expecting. There's a lot of rules in housing that people are not aware of.
Yeah, you didn't disclose lead-based paint and your home was built prior to 1978. You've got some issues.
When you show up to a closing without your septic being done, like in Colorado, that could be a huge thing.
It will stop your closing. Yeah. It will not happen.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that, if you have a lender involved, they will guide you through the process correctly, but
in their lane.
Yeah.
If you also think about it too, you might say, oh, but I'm going to save this percentage, whatever it might be. That could be true, but if you have your house listed for 3 extra months, that's 3 more mortgage payments. You are probably going to sell it a little bit less now. It's been on the market for a long time. You negotiate it down. I can see where you're making less money, even if you think, oh, well, my number was higher than if I would have listed with a realtor, but it took you 5-6 months to sell it.
Yeah.
Did you really save money?
And anguish and, emotional pain and struggle.
Time is valuable too.
And syndication for the marketing. We have, through our IDX feeds, we have syndication out to all the places where people are looking for homes.
It's like 1,600 websites.
Yeah. If you are a for sale by owner, you have to pick the free ones. And then now, luckily, you can be on the same page as the rest of us, but there are some of us that are paying more to get on the first page. Your free one is going to be on page 10 that nobody gets to.
Hey, this is not bash for sell by owner episode.
You seem to be on their side. Yeah. Use a realtor.
No, I do want to be fair and balanced. Like, my thought is, like, let's look at the pros and cons, but I agree. I mean, it's hard not to agree with these points. I mean, everyone wants to save money, but ultimately your goal as a seller is to maximize your profit, right? And whether that is trying to sell it by yourself and save some commission and go down that road of that really potentially bumpy road, or maximize what you have with a professional that's going to take care of your needs and remove a lot of the emotional headache and heartache and liability. And you may end up at the same spot, but more likely you'll end up at a better spot. I mean, that's the argument. And so I think, this isn't really an episode about bashing people that want to try that. Hey, everyone has free will. You can try whatever you want. I think it's really important to lay out some of the pros and cons, because I don't think a lot of people think through that. They're like,
also, we put our money where our mouth is, because we have all sold things. We know the process. We know how to do it. We know what sites we should put it on. And we all still opt to put it on the MLS and pay the compensation to another realtor every time, because we know we're going to make more. It's going to sell faster. It's going to be a better, smoother process. So even if, like us, we know the process and we are still opting to do that.
I sold 3 of my properties this year, and I've told my sellers that I have gone through this same process 3 times this year, and I'm doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. Like, this is my advice to you, and I'm taking my own advice. And they all turned out wonderful. They were all great transactions, but we do put our money where our mouth is, and that's an important thing. No, go ahead, Paul.
Well, that's the other thing too. By using a realtor, if you have repairs that you need to do, if you have all of the things that come up during the process, we have the contacts with other people. You know what I mean? So if something comes up and you need to get your septic done, you're in the yellow pages, or not the. I'm sorry.
Yeah, now you're dating yourself. Yeah. Now you're there with me and Shannon.
This time, Shannon.
Yeah.
That's right.
I did it to myself too.
I don't even know what yellow pages are.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you're going to the Google to figure out who to call, where we have, vetted people that we've used over the years, and we can give you the numbers.
And we'll probably get you in faster, and it'll probably be more affordable.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a client who had called someone without asking me for recommendations, and they said they couldn't get them in for 3 months. And I said, let me just call it real quick. They got them in the next week, and they gave a discount. Like, it was the same company, but they make it work because we do refer them, and we do have good connections with people, and it really makes a difference.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree. And I think there's a gentleman who posted this, and he was a plumber. Actually, he's a plumber that we work with fairly often. And he said, look, I may show up to your job site and do something that takes me 20 minutes, and you're going to get a bill, and it's going to be a premium bill, but you're not paying me for the 20 minutes of service. You're paying me for the last 20 years that I've learned, and I've seen this thing 1,000 times, and I know exactly how to take care of it, do it right, and do it quickly, and get out of your hair.
And guarantee the work.
And guarantee the work. And I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. And he shows up and he does his job, and he does it well, and he doesn't overcharge. He charges a fair amount, but it's a nice premium because you are paying for the work that has been put into it, all the knowledge that has been put into it for all those years before he shows up at your door and fixes the main that's leaking. So, switching gears real quick, the biggest bumps. So apparently there's been some surveys done for sale by owners, and there's a list of the top 5 biggest issues. Single issues.
If you came prepared, you should have done this. Like, what's that family? No, what's the game? Is it Family Feud?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I should have. Yeah.
What's the number one answer?
Yeah, it's the number one answer.
I love a game.
Steve Harvey. Oh my gosh. I should have called
whammies.
Yeah, no whammies. Okay. So what do you think is the number one biggest bump, biggest hurdle, biggest pain point a for sale by owner has? Paul, I'm going to kick it to you. Just give me one thought.
Having to open the door for every single showing.
Okay. That's a fair guess. Shannon?
Having to negotiate face-to-face with someone.
Okay. That's
Can you say the question one more time?
What would be the biggest rub for sale by owner? What's their number one pain point?
Probably negotiating inspections. So
all of those are in the bottom part. The number one thing is getting the price right. Almost 20% of the people that for sale by owner said, I just had the hardest time figuring out the price. And you have all these algorithms now, those estimates and all these other things that are wackadoodle half the time. But that is the number one pinch point. And that will probably cost you the most amount of money if you don't get it right. If you price too high, then you're in a position where you've sat on the market for too long. Now you're negotiating far more than what you should have. If you price too low, then you may lose some money on the table because you're not allowing with a for sale by owner, you don't get the full exposure in a large sense. So, number 2, regret or pinch point for sale by owners may have. We talked a little bit about it.
Has it not been said?
Timeline.
It's been said. Timeline?
Like time for how long it takes to sell.
Ding, ding, ding. Time on the market was the number 2 issue for sale by owners. Thinking it was, thinking it was going to be, 30 days and it ends up being 6 months. So that's the number 2 pinch point. Number 3 is the paperwork, the contracts. Mm-hmm. They listed that as the number 3 pinch point. Number 4 pinch point, I think, was what you had said, Shannon, which is the dedicated time, the time to open the door and all of that. And then the The fifth thing, which was pretty surprising, we haven't talked about this, maybe a little bit. It has to do with the buyer. What do you think that is?
Probably not getting the issues after the purchase.
That's a good guess. Paul?
Buyers difficult to work with.
You almost said it.
No,
you almost said it. Shannon, what would be a pinch point for sell by owner with a buyer?
I don't know if it's something we haven't said yet.
I bet it's the loan approval. They didn't get it.
It's the financing.
Yeah.
So maybe like attracts like. So maybe someone that is buying it isn't working with a realtor, because it was kind of surprising to me that was on the list, that their pinch point was helping the buyer get their financing.
Makes sense.
So now you have a buyer on the hook. You guys are negotiated whatever terms that you want to negotiate. And then the buyer's like, well, how do I get this done? And so
they're not pre-approved.
They're not pre-approved. And so.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because also I think that people walk in, they don't understand. I list my house, just for round numbers, for $100,000 for sale by owner. And Paul walks in and says, you know what? Yeah. Would you take 95? And I say, yeah, I'll take 95. And now we think we have an agreement. There are a million other things to negotiate in there. There are fees, who's paying for what along the way. There are what comes up along the way, who's paying for those things. I think people don't think about that. They think I can just negotiate the price. Mm-hmm. There are a million negotiations throughout a transaction that they don't even think about or realize.
Yep. Closing costs, the post-occupancy, pre-occupancy, timeframes for doing inspections, financing, earnest money.
If you can do inspections, earnest, all the things that we have in our contracts that we take for granted are not in a for sale by owner deal.
Yep.
I think they walk in, they come to an agreement, they shake their hands, they think they've got a deal. They say, we're going to head to the title company, we're going to get this moving forward. And then they start realizing, well, now we've got this issue.
Yeah.
Who's going to do this?
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to do that. I told you I was giving you the 95. I'm not doing it. Well, why should I do it? I think they don't realize there's so many negotiations and so many points in there.
Yeah.
To talk about.
Well, and that's why we call it the honeymoon. The honeymoon is the first part when you're
somebody wants the house and I want to sell it. We're all great.
Yeah, and this is wonderful. And then a few days later, you're like, wait a minute, I didn't think I needed to take care of that. Why shouldn't you have to take care of that? And then
I thought you were paying closing costs.
Yep.
No, I'm not paying closing costs.
And they probably don't even know until
what are closing costs?
They don't even open up a file with title, or they do it, and then their title asks who's all paying for it, and they're like,
yeah.
What do you mean?
You. Yeah. It's like the Spider-Man meme where they're all just pointing at each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the Bickersons enter, right? So there is so many moving parts. And especially now, I'm glad we had this conversation, because actually kind of going through some of this, it really kind of makes you think, man, there is so much involved to actually closing a transaction, to actually selling your home from start to finish, from getting it ready. I mean, think about all the work we do with sellers to actually get to the point where they're selling a home. In fact, one of the clients I worked with for almost 3 years, talking with her, coaching her, getting her ready, and then finally she went to market. And he worked with her for 3 years to get to the point where then I could do my job. Then I could step in and actually list the property. And
you know what? One of the problems we have too, and this isn't to be bragging about it or anything, but I think a lot of times the public doesn't see all the jobs that we do. So they don't really know how much work we do all the time. We make it look easy. And I think that's another problem with the for sale by owner. Have you ever, I know you have, you list a house and, you might get a full price offer within, a couple of hours or days, and you take it to them and they're under contract, and 30 days later you're closed, and they're looking at you going, man, you made a lot of money for that. You didn't do anything. Well, I did a lot.
Yeah.
And I did a lot that you didn't see. And my expertise and all my years coming up to here got that job done for you in that way. And I think that's the one thing that people don't always see. They think we've made it look very easy.
I feel like that's every job.
It is.
Doctor, lawyer, anything.
Have you ever called a contractor and he comes over and he jumps off your roof and you've been struggling with it for months, and he says, no, it's all great. It's all tidied up. And he hands you your bill for, $1,500, and you were like, you were there 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
But you'd be thrilled if that was a brain surgeon.
That's exactly. Right. That's what right. I was just talking to my sister-in-law about this. It's like we pay a lot of money for our lawyer, but our lawyer knows what they're talking about. Whenever we go to court, we just went a few weeks ago. And then on the other side, you can tell that lawyer does not know what he's talking about. He doesn't know the basics. And it turns into almost a joke. It's like, you've wasted that money. You know, maybe it was less, but what a waste. You might have well just paid more and actually got a good service and felt good about it. Yeah, it hurts to write that check, but it's the time and the effort and the like issues that pop up from not doing it the right way in the first time, because you might just have to go in and hire that more expensive person anyways.
And that's
I don't think that our customers also see that sometimes we're sitting at home at, 11, 12 o'clock at night, digging in their file, making sure, we're staying on timelines, that this has been taken care of. I'm going to review this report now and look this over. And maybe I found a couple items in here that they probably should be asking to have addressed, or even telling the seller they didn't ask for these things, but we've got some health and safety issues over here. How much time and effort we put into every little detail that we're thinking through. And I think that the general public doesn't see those things. So a lot of times they feel like, I can do that. Well, I can put it on Facebook and sell it to one of my friends. And that's not a big deal.
And
speaking
for all of us, I think most of our clients are very appreciative of the work that we do.
Oh, very much so.
They are happy to pay us what we have decided. They're very appreciative of the whole process. It's 99.9% of our clients.
Right.
Yep. And we're very grateful for our clients.
And we appreciate them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this episode is really more about peeling back the layers of, is it a right thing for you to do for sell by owner? Some people, very few, it's the right path. The majority of the others get a licensed professional. And back to Aspen's point, that's why I call Ben DIY Lyons, because I have gone out there and done those things and then called a professional to come back and fix those things and paid twice. And it would have been a lot easier and a lot better for me and everyone with me to just do it the right way the first time. So that's my plug for Realtors today. And fantastic conversation. We got to wrap it up. We're running out of time. Gosh, we could talk a lot about that. And maybe one of these episodes we'll share some of the examples we've seen, whether it's ourselves or others, of things that have gone wrong in those situations. So that would be an interesting. Halloween's coming up. We could do a scary episode.
Horror story.
We should dress up.
I think so. I think we may have to do that. Put that on the docket. But thank you for listening to this episode of The Den. If you like our content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to our Facebook page. We've got fantastic information coming out there. A wonderful newsletter Paul sends out weekly, keeps you up to date with the market stats. And of course, you can go to sjcbroker.com and schedule a private consultation with any one of us here at the Lyons Group. We'd love to sit down with you, whether you're buying or selling commercial or residential property. We can give you an advantage in today's market. So thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Den, powered by the Lyons Group. Hit the subscribe button to keep informed and check the show notes below for direct links to our buyer and seller video series. The buyer and seller video series can give you an inside track on taking the right steps in real estate. If you'd like to learn more about the Lyons Group or to schedule a consultation, go to sjcbroker.com. Complex markets require complex strategies. The Lyons Group can give you a true advantage in any market. Whether you're buying or selling, residential or commercial, contact us directly at sjcbroker.com. We're time-tested experts with a client-first approach, and we'll see you next time in The Den.